following program does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of the City of Oceanside, its elected officials, KOCT, its board of directors, or staff.
HBL Hair Care, healthy ingredients for a healthy hair. Enhance health, reveal natural beauty, and give new life to your hair. Experience the holistic difference of HBL Hair Care.
Hello, welcome to Oceanside Spectrum, the Oceanside High School edition. I'm your host, Ezekiel Gutierrez. We've got a great show today. OHS Principal Dr. Ron Pirayoff is here today to talk about the state of the school and his experiences as a pirate. After that, we have Mr. Driscoll joining us today to give us a little inside information on the school's innovative new Chromebooks. For our final guest of the evening, we are going to be accompanied by Mr. Watson to discuss the construction of Oceanside High School's new Performing Arts Theater and the issue of parking. Get ready, Oceanside Spectrum starts now. Hi, welcome to Oceanside Spectrum. I'm here with Dr. Ron Pirayoff, here to talk about the state of the school. So Dr. Pirayoff, since our last interview, I've had some time to focus on some issues you've brought up. What are you most proud of since just being principal here at the Oceanside High School?
Well, first of all, the thing that sticks out the most when you ask that question is the tradition at our school. The school is 110 years old, and just to be a part of something that is so rich in history and tradition has been amazing. So I've been proud of being a part of something like that. And then second of all, I've been proud of the way we've rallied as a staff. We've really come together. And anybody who's ever been part of an organization knows how difficult it is to get an organization to go from point A to point B. And I've been really proud of the movement and the progress we've made in the way of, school spirit, culture, academics, athletics. It's just been an all-around great experience.
I'd like to commend you for that. So far at the school, you've been transitioning. You haven't really been taking focus for all the positives throughout the school. You've just been focusing on the staff, focusing on relationships. What's brought up the relationships?
I think the foundation of every organization, the foundation of every school is how we connect with each other as human beings. So whether it's students and teachers connecting, or students and students connecting, or staff members and staff members connecting, it all boils back down to building relationships. And it's really empathizing and seeing things through the eyes of other people, and understanding that they may not come from the same background or have battled the same circumstances as you have, and just taking that moment, that sliver of time, to really kind of understand where that other person is coming from, and to see what you have control over that could end up supporting that person. So again, if it's staff and staff, student, student, it's just really taking that approach and putting that front and center with every interaction we have before we do anything else. Because we're all feeling the weight of pressure to perform, pressure of academics, pressure of athletics, and it's really, really easy to kind of sweep that under the rug, sweep the relationship piece under the rug, and go straight to wins and losses, straight to test scores, straight to grades, straight to get into college, and all that stuff represents outcomes, and it's really a focus on the process that matters the most, and that process is really connecting with human beings.
What are some changes you're most proud of at the high school?
Like I said, it's a 110-year-old school, and I think the thing that I'm most proud of is that we have staff members that have gone to school there, that have had their kids go to school there, that have been there for 20 plus years, and yet each and every day they come to school, they come to the game ready to play, ready to reflect, ready to get better. I don't think there's been any kind of attitude of, well, I've arrived and we're good and I'm just going to be stagnant. So I'm really proud to be working with people who are always looking to get better, always looking to reflect, and always looking to do what's best for our students. That's what makes me most proud. And then everything else kind of falls in place, because we have conversations about how to get better, and and what areas do we want to get better in, and what timelines, and how do we measure how we got better. But it all really starts with that feeling and understanding that we all have room to grow, and what's that going to look like.
Okay, that's going to wrap it up for our first segment. We'll be back with our second segment in a bit. Thank you. Hi, welcome back to Oceanside Spectrum. I'm here with Dr. Ron Pirayoff, and I'm your host, Ezekiel Gutierrez. So before the break, we were talking about some long-term goals you've had with Oceanside. Would you like to talk about that a little bit more?
Sure. I think it really evolves around our kids deserving the best. So our students deserve the best. Our staff members feel that way. I feel that way. I know our parents definitely feel that way. So with that being said, we want all of our students to graduate from Oceanside High School and to graduate college and career ready. So that's to be able to have the option once they cross that stage to say, you know what, yeah, I want to go to a 4-year university, or I'm going to go to a 2-year community college, or I'm going to go right into my career. But we want them to have that option. And currently not all of our students have that option, but our goal, when you talk about long-term goals, is to get every single student, 9 through 12, by the time they graduate and cross that stage down at the pier, to be able to have that option and to say, you know what, I'm going to go to a 4-year, or I want to do something else.
So speaking of getting all our students to have those options to go to either a 4- or 2-year university, you've implemented the A through G requirements as a graduation requirement really recently. What brought that about?
So the A to G requirements have actually been around for a while, but what we've done is made it a real focus for our school. And we started really back in August, at the beginning of this year, as a focus, and it's really a culture shift. It's really talking with students and families and teachers about what we want for our students. And within our staff, our conversation sounds something like this. It sounds like, well, Mr. So-and-so, what would you want for your own children? And when we frame the conversation that way, we get some real, genuine answers. So we understand that students come to us with certain circumstances, whether it be financial circumstances or just gaps in their learning. But as a staff, we've made a commitment to try to get every single student to be college and career readiness, to have that college and career readiness. So we've set a mark. We want to increase 10 to 15% of our student population every senior class, which translates to every year, being able to apply to a 4-year university. So we want to grow by 10 to 15% every single year for our A to G requirements.
So you feel like those improvements have actually helped students get into college?
Yeah, it's still early and the numbers are preliminary, but we have seen a difference, and the difference we've seen is in the students' attitudes, in teacher attitudes and staff attitudes, and our counselors and our administrators. People's attitudes and mindsets are now all about 4-year universities. So when Johnny comes to his counselor and says, you know what, I want to drop this chem class. And the counselor says, well, why do you want to drop it? And Johnny says, well, it's just too hard. The conversation now is, well, you're gonna hold on to that chem class. Let's turn this in conversation into how we can get you support, how we can get you tutoring, how we can get you to stay in that class and get a C or better. Big difference from, you know what, let's go ahead and drop that class because you're overwhelmed with school or you're working after school. It's a big culture shift, and I think it was tough on our seniors this year when they went with the expectation to drop classes and they were faced with a conversation that didn't allow them to drop classes. But I think as we make that consistent and grow that out as part of our culture, it'll become part of the norm and part of the expectation. And we're already seeing a difference with the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen as they signed up for their classes just recently for next school year. There hasn't been any pushback or any conversations about taking less rigorous classes. So improvement in that sense, and we know that that's going to translate into some improvement in our numbers with our A to G rate.
Yeah, with that improvement, it's forced a lot, not exactly forced, but it's kind of pushed more kids to go to more AP classes and just expand their horizons. Has the numbers in AP classes grown recently?
Actually, yeah, the numbers of students who are taking AP classes has grown. The number of students who are passing AP classes has grown. We'd like it to grow much more, and I know that this is going to take some time to do, but we're definitely headed in the right direction. And really, it all starts with one basic assumption, and that basic assumption that we try to program in all the adults that are working with our students is that all kids can learn at high levels. That basic expectation, that basic assumption, if that exists in our minds as adults, our kids have limitless futures.
Okay. Is there any other programs besides the AP and A through G that forces, not exactly forces, but pushes kids to do better and just shoot for higher horizons?
Yeah, I don't know that it's program. I think it's just our school culture. It's how we do things. And again, I'm going to go right back to that basic assumption, that basic philosophy that all kids, all students can learn at high levels. So from that basic philosophy, what now do we have to do as adults to make that happen? I think that's where it all kind of starts. Not necessarily a focus on A to G or focus on grad rate. It's really a focus on high expectations.
So you believe that since the teachers expect more, that the students will believe in themselves at a higher level?
Absolutely. I have a quote that I keep repeating to our staff, but our environment is the product of our behaviors. And it's kind of like Gandhi's quote, be the change you want to see. If we're expecting that of our students, if we're modeling that with our students, then there's no choice but for the environment to turn into what we expect. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I am saying that the fruits of our labors and the outcomes of our efforts are going to be way, way, way worth it.
In our interview earlier this week, you talked about, well, back to the whole Gandhi quote, be the change you want
To see.
Yeah. You told me earlier that some of the teachers have been taking classes at UCSD just to learn new techniques with the new Chromebooks that we just recently got to high school.
Yeah, so we've partnered with University of San Diego and their mobile technology unit, and what they've done is they've brought some instructional coaches to Oceanside High School, and they've been part of our school year. So 8 to 10 times there's been a group of 30 teachers that have volunteered their time to reflect on their craft, to refine their craft of teaching, and to figure out ways to embed technology and more advanced ways of engaging students into their craft. So it's been really exciting to watch. It's been exciting to watch some people be kind of invigorated and walk away feeling really invigorated and inspired as a result of the coaching and how that's impacted our students. It's been really cool to see.
Yeah, and those new Chromebooks have really changed the classroom setting. I was talking to some teachers earlier this weekend. They've really seen the change in the classroom, growing from old classroom settings to just this new innovative way to teach.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And one point that we try to make to be really super clear with technology is it's not about the technology. It's about how the teaching has shifted from a teacher-centered approach to a student-centered approach, and how technology can support that. So if we make it about technology, then we're just substituting what we're already doing. But if we really make it about making a shift in our teaching from a teacher-centered to a student-centered, where students are carrying that cognitive load, where students are asking good questions, where students are collaborating and critically thinking, then we can figure out ways to bring in technology to support that.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for right now. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Prof.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with our next two hosts, Mr. Driscoll and Mr. Watson from Oceanside High School. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to Oceanside Spectrum. I'm here with Mr. Driscoll, who's an Oceanside English teacher, here to talk about innovative new technology in Oceanside's classrooms. Can you start off by telling us what exactly are Google Chromebooks?
Google Chromebooks are, Google Chromebooks are inexpensive laptops that we have been purchasing for the last year or so. For under $200, we can get each of those Chromebooks that don't have a lot of memory inside them, but they're made to go right onto the internet. And once they're on the internet, we have access to what's called the Google Suite, which would be things like Google Docs, Google Slides, things that are similar to Microsoft Word, but much, much cheaper because they're free. So those are the Chromebooks. They are inexpensive ways to get onto the internet and start doing some thinking and some innovating and some writing and exploring.
What exactly inspired bringing those Chromebooks into the classrooms?
I think the fact that they're inexpensive, that's a, we need to get the most for our money to get our students onto technology, have that access to technology, and this is a cheap and inexpensive way to do that.
So do you believe that the Chromebooks have made an impact on modern classrooms?
Well, we've only had them for about a year. I have been involved in using technology in the classroom for a long, long time, about as long as I've been teaching, which I've been at Oceanside High since 1988. And we've made huge leaps and bounds in technology and the use of technology in the classroom. In the last year or so, I've had more students have more access to the technology over a longer period of time, and just starting to collect information, to collect the numbers as far as the results. I do see some promising things. I do see students doing better on tests. I see students thinking and engaging themselves with material in a deeper way than I've seen before.
So you believe the impact that Google Chromebooks are making on the classroom is kind of revolved around the whole hands-on aspect of them?
Definitely. The fact that they're hands-on, students are actively doing work instead of sitting back and being passive and me being in front of the classroom talking to them and them just writing down notes. Actually try to develop lessons and units that revolve around them doing the work and them doing the research. I already went to college. I already did all my work to get where I am today, and this is a way to get students to do the same kind of thing.
So you believe that the Google Chromebooks are easy enough for students to do?
They're so easy, yeah. First of all, they turn them just by opening them on. Just by opening them, that turns them on, and it's a matter of just logging in. We have a special password and login information the kids do that gets them onto what's called Google Access for Education, GAFE. It's just a matter of logging in, and they're automatically on to Google Drive, Google Docs. Those are a couple of the main programs that I use. Google Classroom is another one that I use. With Google Classroom, that's sort of a central location where I have my assignments for the students to get. Instead of handing out papers, which back that up, I have to make the copies, make sure I have enough copies for all the students, make sure the student has those copies if they're absent one day. Now all they have to do is turn on the computer and they have whatever it is that I want them to have.
So if the work depends so much on the students, what responsibility falls back on the teachers?
There's a lot of monitoring, and actually what it does is it frees me up a little bit more. It allows me to get out with the students out into the classroom, as opposed, again, to me being up in front, trying to teach or trying to really be what they call a sage on stage. Now I'm able to set up a lesson where the students are working and I'm monitoring them and working with them individually. I have more one-on-one contact than I would have in a traditional classroom.
So you would say that the change has been positive as per how it was 10 years ago, maybe?
Definitely positive. One positive thing is because they're so inexpensive, we have multiple carts available for teachers. 10 years ago, we had maybe two computer labs. So I could only get 2 teachers into those labs at any one time. Now with up to maybe 8 carts, I think, that opens it up to 8 teachers. They have 5 sections of kids, so that's, hundreds of more kids are able to use technology for a much cheaper price.
Why do you believe it's a positive thing to bring new technology to classrooms?
Students seem to be more engaged, more interested in the work. There are times where it can get so quiet in the classroom, sometimes it's kind of uncomfortable. You think maybe they've fallen asleep, but instead students are so engaged in what they're doing that they're not even bothering to talk to their friends, not checking their phones. They're actually doing whatever it is that I've asked them to do.
So you would say students respond well to these new methods?
Definitely. They definitely respond well. I see more students. I did a assignment recently where students were creating PSAs, public service announcements. And I had at least 2 or 3 of my classes, 100% of the students actually did the assignment, where, as before, there's always going to be a couple kids that don't do the assignments, especially longer term assignments that have a lot more work involved. This one happened, they seemed to enjoy it so much that every single one of them actually did the work.
That's good. I was talking to Dr. Pirayoff earlier, and he spoke that around 30 teachers had training at USD, just working with the Chromebooks and learning how to teach. Do you feel that's helped teachers a lot?
It's definitely helped. I was actually in the first group prior to the USD people coming on board, and we were sort of like on the wild frontier, and we were able to go visit some other schools. Did you talk about the schools in Tustin, perhaps?
No, he did not.
Schools in Tustin have a setup where every student in the school district has a laptop or an iPad. So we were able, and because of that, those teachers have all done a lot of work reinventing their curriculum. It's called flipping the classroom, where they're turning the classroom back over to the kids to have them do the work. So we were able to go up there and observe those teachers and get some initial ideas. And then in the last year, we've had extra training with the people from USD.
Yeah, that's really interesting. As a student at the high school for 4 years, I've just really seen the whole classroom develop from the last decade up until now, and it's just really transforming, and it's really amazing to see that personally.
Well, it's changed a lot. We've seen, I've seen over the years everything from Apple IIe's when I first started working there to Macintosh computers to PCs, and now these Chromebooks.
Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. But next up, we have Mr. Watson here to talk about the new theater going on at Oceanside and how we're going to fit in all those cars to follow up. Hello, welcome back to Oceanside Spectrum. I'm here with Mr. Watson, here to talk about the new Performing Arts Theater at Oceanside High School and the nightmare that has been surrounding it, that is parking. So, what inspired the new Performing Arts Theater?
Performing Arts Center was part of a bond that happened before I arrived at Oceanside High School. And it came along with the development and refurbishing of several of the other schools around OUSD. So it's been in effect for a long time, and the approvals and final construction were slated sometime this year, and it kind of crept up on us a little quicker than we had anticipated.
So when you walked into the plans, what was your job to do?
Oh, being in charge of facilities at OHS, my job was to come up with a parking plan to try to mitigate as much as the issues that we have. As you know, Oceanside High is a premier football school, so I was thinking Friday nights are going to be difficult. Student parking is going to be difficult. Trying to get everybody from the food services staff to our staff to our custodial staff to security, and then securing that was going to be something that was going to take a little bit of work.
Yeah, I see that you've been handling a lot of complaints from staff. How's the issues with neighbors around the high school?
The neighbors originally, when this first went into effect in January, we got back from our Christmas break. The neighbors were very surprised at how many people were parking in the neighborhoods. As we got into the first few weeks, the complaints from the neighbors were few and far between. It was more of the frustrated parents: where am I going to drop off? Where is my student going to park? How do I get a parking pass? Most of the complaints that I've dealt with have been internal and not so much external. The people in the neighborhoods have been real gracious with our students and staff as far as parking in Oceanside.
What strides has administration made to further help parking?
Well, Matt Evans, he's the director of facilities for OUSD, and he's made a lot of contact with the city. The very first contact that I made with the city, they were gracious enough to waive several parking tickets of students that got parking tickets right off the bat, but they made it very clear that they would waive the first one, and then it's up to us to educate the students where to park when those parking street sweepers come through. We've made some good progress. We've had good communication with some empty lots that are around the school. We're looking into renting several of those for possibly next year to increase the number of spots for both staff and students. So the communication's been great with the city and the neighborhood, and we're starting to figure it out, and the parents are starting to figure it out, and the students have been more than patient.
So with the parking lots in the future, what plans have been made to help students and staff get parking?
When we complete the Performing Arts Center, we lost a total of 211 spots. We will regain about 30 to 40 of those spots. So with that, we're still never going to be a place that's going to be easy to park. It will help out a little bit. And there are plans to look further into the future at certain areas that Oceanside Unified School District already owns, and then to develop those places that are closer to Oceanside High School and maybe get parking, more parking as a result of that. So there's long-term, there's short-term, and in the meantime, we have shuttles that'll run hopefully between the district office and our school during football season, and we can mitigate anything that's uncomfortable. But downtown Oceanside's growing like crazy, and it'd be a great place to park, and you can go have dinner at any of the new restaurants and make your way up for a football game and still really enjoy yourself at Oceanside High.
I see there's a lot of negatives surrounding the new Performing Arts Center, including parking. What are some positives that are coming out of it?
You know what, I see it as a premier building that is a multi-million-dollar facility that is directly linked to not only the students in our community, but the community itself. As you know, Oceanside's halfway between Los Angeles and San Diego. It's right off of the I-5 freeway. It is a premier place for anybody that wanted to utilize the Performing Arts Center, and I think it's only going to encourage that particular link to the community and offer just more of a pathway into careers such as this one that can cater specifically to our students and our clientele.
Okay, so besides just using the Performing Arts Center to bring in more money into the school, what other positives do you see?
Well, the money aspect, I see it as a pathway to careers. I mean, we're here for students. We're here for the students in our community, and I see it as something that can empower young people to do exactly what you're doing right now, whether it's in dance, whether it's in music, whether it's in engineering, technology, sound, whatever it is. It creates the opportunity for students to utilize a state-of-the-art facility to further their aspirations and career aspects, and that's what we're here for.
I enjoy seeing an administrator just really truly care about their students and just want them to focus on their career and goals. Besides the Performing Arts Center, is there any other implementations to the school that you guys have been trying?
That there is. I think it ties really closely with the Oceanside Promise and the superintendent's vision of tying the community to the school and vice versa. I think it can only make it stronger, better, and provide opportunities for young people to showcase their talents. It's amazing what you can see when you sit back and let the students take over and lead and show what they've learned and the skills that they've developed. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and you've been at the school for a while. What improvements have you seen?
Well, I can go all the way back to going to that school back in the 80s, which is a completely different facility when I attended there, to going through Oceanside High, still seeing some of my old teachers on campus, a few of them, probably retiring in the next few years. I've seen a lot of improvement. I've seen a huge shift in culture, focusing on academics. We've always been a powerhouse in athletics, a lot of fun in a lot of different athletics. Music program is growing. I know that we had some big shoes to fill when Mark Phelps retired, and just moving on and seeing what's next.
That's actually all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Oceanside Spectrum. Have a good evening.
HBL Hair Care, healthy ingredients for healthy hair. Enhance health, reveal natural beauty, and give new life to your hair. Experience the holistic difference of HBL Hair Care.